Halo: Campaign Evolved is not just another remaster with sharper textures. It is a full remake of the story campaign from Halo: Combat Evolved, the 2001 game that helped define the original Xbox and turned Master Chief into one of gaming's most recognizable heroes. Released on July 28, 2026, for PlayStation 5, Windows, and Xbox Series X/S, the remake arrives with a very specific purpose: to celebrate 25 years of both Halo and Xbox while also presenting the series to a much wider audience than ever before. For longtime fans, it is a return to the ring world that started everything. For new players, it is designed as a modern entry point into one of gaming's most important science fiction universes. The original Halo: Combat Evolved was more than a successful shooter. It was a platform-defining release. Bungie's first Halo game introduced console players to a style of first-person shooting that felt precise, cinematic, and unusually open for its time. Its campaign mixed military science fiction, alien mystery, large battlefields, vehicles, and cooperative play in a way that made the Xbox feel like a serious competitor. Campaign Evolved revisits that same story foundation: the arrival on Installation 04, the war between humanity and the Covenant, and the discovery that the Halo ring is far more dangerous than it first appears. But the remake is not simply asking players to remember why Halo mattered. It is trying to make that importance feel immediate again. One of the biggest changes is the technology behind the remake. Campaign Evolved was developed in Unreal Engine 5, marking a major shift for the franchise. Halo had previously relied on internal technology, most recently the Slipspace engine used for Halo Infinite. Moving to Unreal Engine 5 allows Halo Studios to rebuild environments, lighting, effects, character models, and cinematic presentation using a modern production pipeline. That matters because Combat Evolved's original campaign depended heavily on atmosphere. The beaches, alien corridors, snowy canyons, and glowing Forerunner architecture were part of its identity. In Campaign Evolved, those spaces are not just cleaned up. They are reconstructed to feel richer, denser, and more physically present while still being recognizable as the same legendary locations. The remake also changes how the campaign plays. According to the source details, Campaign Evolved includes upgraded visuals along with new and altered levels. That is an important distinction. A remaster usually preserves the structure and simply improves the presentation. A remake can adjust pacing, encounters, and level flow. Halo: Combat Evolved is beloved, but it also has sections that modern audiences may find repetitive, especially in long interior missions that reuse similar spaces. By altering and adding levels, Halo Studios has room to preserve the core journey while smoothing the experience for players who expect more varied objectives, clearer navigation, and more dynamic combat. The goal appears to be modernization without turning the game into something unrecognizable. Campaign Evolved also pulls in mechanics, weapons, and narrative additions from later Halo games. This is one of the most interesting creative decisions in the remake. The original Combat Evolved had a clean, focused sandbox, 2 weapons at a time: grenades, melee, shields, and vehicles. Later Halo entries expanded that formula with new enemy types, new equipment ideas, new weapons, and broader lore. By bringing selected elements from those later games back into the first campaign, Campaign Evolved can make the remake feel more consistent with the larger franchise. It also gives returning fans fresh reasons to replay familiar missions. The challenge is balance, adding enough new material to feel modern, but not so much that the original identity gets buried. The story presentation has been rebuilt as well. Campaign Evolved features remade cinematics and audio, including re-recorded dialogue from the principal voice cast. That suggests the remake is not relying on old recordings simply placed over new visuals. Instead, it is treating the campaign's storytelling as part of the rebuild. This matters because Halo's earliest narrative had a simple but powerful tone: a lone supersoldier, an artificial intelligence companion, a desperate human military, and an ancient alien threat. Re-recorded performances can give familiar scenes new clarity and emotional weight, especially for players who know how important Master Chief and Cortana become across later games. The remake can subtly connect the beginning of the saga to the broader emotional arc that followed. One of the most talked about decisions is what Campaign Evolved does not include: the original competitive multiplayer. Halo Combat Evolved's multiplayer was historically important, especially for local matches and LAN parties, but this remake focuses on the campaign side of the experience. That choice is right there in the title. Instead of trying to recreate or replace decades of Halo multiplayer history, Campaign Evolved centers on the story mode and cooperative play. This could disappoint players who associate Combat Evolved with classic competitive maps and split-screen battles. But it also prevents the remake from being pulled in two directions. Halo multiplayer has its own expectations, balance issues, live service pressures, and community demands. This project is built around the campaign. Co-op, however, is a major part of the package. Campaign Evolved supports 4-player online cooperative multiplayer, while console players also get 2-player split-screen. That is significant because cooperative play has always been part of Halo's appeal. The original campaign became a shared memory for many players because it could be experienced with a friend on the same couch. By keeping split-screen on consoles, Halo Studios acknowledges that legacy. By adding 4-player online co-op, it also adapts the experience to how people play today. Friends can move through the remade campaign together across distance, turning familiar battles into coordinated group encounters. In a remake built around memory and accessibility, co-op is not just a feature. It is part of the franchise's social DNA. Campaign Evolved also supports cross-platform play and cross-progression across all consoles and PC during online co-op. This is a major symbolic shift for Halo. For most of its history, Halo was closely tied to Xbox hardware. It was one of the reasons people bought an Xbox in the first place. But Campaign Evolved launched on PlayStation 5 as well as Windows and Xbox Series X/S, making it the first multi-platform release of its kind for the franchise. Crossplay means players are not separated by platform when playing online co-op. Cross-progression means their progress can follow them. Together, these features show that Halo is being repositioned from a console-defining exclusive into a broader gaming franchise. To understand why this remake matters, it helps to look at the franchise's stewardship. Bungie created Halo and developed the early landmark entries, ending its direct run with Halo Reach in 2010. After that, 343 Industries took control of the series. Its first major release was Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary in 2011, a remastered version of the original game for Xbox 360. Then came new mainline entries, including Halo 4 in 2012. Over time, the studio faced the challenge of honoring Bungie's legacy while also pushing Halo forward. In 2024, 343 Industries restructured and rebranded as Halo Studios. Campaign Evolved is important because it is the first major statement from that new identity. The rebrand to Halo Studios came with a technological and strategic pivot. The team moved away from the proprietary Slipspace engine and toward Unreal Engine 5 for future Halo production. Campaign Evolved became the inaugural game using that new approach. That makes the remake more than a nostalgia project. It functions as a technical reset, a public demonstration, and a bridge to future Halo titles. Remaking the first campaign is a logical starting point because it gives developers a familiar design foundation while allowing them to test new tools, workflows, and visual standards. It also gives players a clear message: before Halo moves forward, the new studio is reintroducing the beginning of the story. Critical reception to Campaign Evolved was generally positive. Reviewers noted that it brought welcome updates and additions to the original campaign, but did not drastically reimagine it. That reaction captures the central identity of the project. This is not a total reinvention of Halo Combat Evolved. It is a careful modernization, designed to make the first Halo campaign more approachable, more polished, and more connected to the franchise as it exists today. For some players, that restraint will be exactly the point. For others, it may feel too safe. But as an anniversary release, a multi-platform milestone, and the first Unreal Engine 5 project from Halo Studios, Campaign Evolved represents a turning point, Halo looking back at its origin while preparing for a very different future. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more explainers.